NTA International News.
Federal Executive Council meets, grants Nigeria citizenship to 335 foreigners. Federal government amends charges against Justice Adeniyi Ademola, rearraigns the Federal High Court judge. And Nigerian Society of Engineers kicks against complete closure of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport for repair works. Hello and welcome to NTA International News. I'm Nancy Godiangonihu. The federal government has granted Nigeria's citizenship to 335 foreigners who met stipulated conditions for such rights in line with the provision of the Constitution. Minister of Interior Abdulrahman Dambazau announced this to newsmen after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by the President Muhammadu Buhari. He said these people were carefully selected out of those who applied to the nation's authorities to become Nigerian citizens for various reasons.
The last time this was done was in 2013. So we had some backlog of these applications. We have over 500 applications that we considered. Out of these 500 applications, 335 in total were recommended for citizenship, either by naturalization or by registration. There are 245 that apply for citizenship by naturalization and 90 by registration. And that is what is popularly known as Niger wives. This is for women from foreign countries who are married to Nigerian citizens. And the requirements to be met are clearly stated in the Constitution.
State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the council also approved an outline business case for the concession of Gorara hydropower plants, as well as the completion of water supply project at over 1.7 billion naira.
I inherited 117 ongoing and abandoned projects. I inherited liability of 89 billion naira, that's claims by contractors waiting to be paid, and a total projection of another 250 billion to complete those 117 ongoing projects. So our task has been to concentrate more on completing some of these projects. So we set out to do a technical audit early last year on these projects, based on which we prioritize them. This particular project happens to be one of those that it's among the low-hanging fruits, and therefore a high priority project, because we spend a little more money in order to get value for the purpose of which the project was intended. And we are going to continue like that. We hope that under the 2017 budget, that we'll be able to complete at least 25% of those 170 ongoing projects.
Now on to judiciary matters, and following the amendment of its charges, the federal government has rearranged Justice Adeniyi Ademola of the Federal High Court, Abuja, on a 16-count charge of corruption. Another defendant was also charged along with Justice Ademola. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okelwo reports.
Brought before Justice Jude Okeke of the FCT High Court, Justice Adeniyi Ademola, a judge of the Federal High Court, is being tried on a 16-count charge of, among others, receiving 3 installments of 10 million naira each between March 11th and 16th, 2016, dealing in illegal property to the tune of about 175 million naira with a private company, and receiving an unlawful BMW car gift through his son on the 5th of January 2015. The car gift was said to have come through a senior advocate of Nigeria, Joe Agui, who this time was charged along with Justice Adeniyi Ademola. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges.
There was an amended charge brought today against the accused person, which brought in a new defendant into the case. And based on that, fresh plea was taken.
We didn't want it to stall the arraignment of the two defendants. That was why we took his name out of the original charge. But now that he's in the country, we brought him in so that we can commence trial.
The bail conditions that had prevailed before Wednesday's rearrangement was extended to the defendants. Now, with the amendment of charges and the arraignment completed, the trial has been slated to commence on the 16th of January, and it will run through the 6th, 17th and 18th of the month. From the FCT High Court, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
Away from the Judiciary, the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology is making headway in the research and development of two products targeted at alleviating the pains of over 40 million Africans suffering from sickle cell disease. Justin Bemunyi reports.
This is coming as the ministry signs an MOU with a private pharmaceutical company for the development and commercialization of the food supplements, which are breakthroughs of the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi, FIRO, in the spirit of the private partnership initiative of the federal government. This is in furtherance of the unrelenting effort of the federal government at ensuring that indigenous research findings and innovations do not remain on the shelves, but are taken to the markets for economic growth.
And then we will not only meet our needs in the country, we're going to now export these products to other parts of the world.
FIRO affirms the products submitted have been fully analyzed and clinically tested and found to be potent in eliminating and reducing the effect of health and nutrition challenges confronting the black race.
It is important to know that in the process of commercialization of indigenous technologies, jobs will be created, wealth will be generated, foreign exchange will be conserved.
As a company, we are accepting to work with FIRO to finalize the development and commercialization of these products.
The MOU signed has a broad objective of enhancing the growth of manufacturing concern of indigenous technologies through effective local technology transfer program. In Abuja, Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari this Wednesday approved the appointment of Dr. Faisal Shuaibu as the Executive Secretary of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. Dr. Shuaibu, a medical doctor and public health specialist, is currently a Senior Program Officer Africa for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, BMGF, at Seattle, USA. At the BMGF, Dr. Shuaibu is responsible for developing and implementing strategies on polio outbreak response activities in Abuja. Dr. Shuaibu coordinated Nigeria's successful response to the outbreak of Ebola virus disease, EVD, as the incident manager of the Ebola Emergency Operations Center in 2014. He was also a member of the 6-man panel established to assess the response of the World Health Organization, WHO, to the global Ebola outbreak in 2014 and provided technical advice to the Federal Ministry of Health and NPHCDA in areas of immunization and polio eradication activities between 2012 and 2015. Dr. Shuaibu had in the past also worked as a research associate at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. The Nigerian Society of Engineers says the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport should not be completely closed down before maintenance repairs are carried out, as this will have ripple effects on the socio-economic growth of the country. The engineers believe the airport operations can be ongoing simultaneously with the repair work. Chimdi Mandubisi was there and now reports.
On January 5th, 2017, the Ministry of Transportation, Aviation, at a stakeholders forum, announced the federal government's decision to temporarily close the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, for 6 weeks, starting from March 8, so as to commence comprehensive renovation works on the airport's runway to meet international civil aviation standards. The Kaduna Airport was also designated as the alternative airport for the period. The Nigerian Society of Engineers is, however, proposing a different approach.
The Nigerian Society of Engineers, having carried out an extensive and robust review, is compelled to recommend and note as follows. 1. Operational models at Uli and Frankfurt Airport must be adopted. to keep the airport open, which implies working in sections. Construction of the second runway at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport must commence immediately.
Government contracts must first go to a company that is run by the citizens of that country, and that's Nigeria.
The Nigerian Society of Engineers also wants all transportation modes, railway, road, aviation and marine, to be collapsed into the Federal Ministry of Transportation for greater efficiency and improved management. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukuru Buratai, has reaffirmed the Nigerian Army's commitment to partnering with the Nigerian Immigration Service to further strengthen the country's internal security. This was when he received the Comptroller General, Nigerian Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede, at the Army headquarters in Abuja. Olajide Bello reports.
The visit of the Comptroller General, Nigerian Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede, on the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukuru Buratai, was a platform to brainstorm on issues and fortify Nigeria's land borders through synergy, intelligence sharing, and capacity building.
I would like to see if the military can assist us in training our border patrol wing. Government has committed resources this year by allowing us to purchase patrol vehicles, surveillance equipment. Also, they have committed in terms of communication equipment, but I need to build the men to do the job.
The Comptroller General says the Nigerian Immigration Service will soon embark on registration of non-Nigerians at local government levels at the place of residence for effective database management. The Comptroller General says the Nigerian Immigration Service will soon embark on registration of non-Nigerians at local government levels at their place of residence for effective database management. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukuru Buratai, reiterated Nigerian Army's readiness to support the Nigerian Immigration Service at border patrol through the establishment of forward operation bases, which will equally provide adequate security for personnel of the Immigration Service.
Intelligence sharing, it will help us, in getting intelligence, for us to tackle this issue of the cross-border banditry.
The Chief of Army Staff called on the Nigerian Immigration Service to ensure to register all Nigerians who were not yet captured for effective database management in the country. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Lucky Rabo, has displayed the recovered materials from the Boko Haram members at the just concluded Zero Camp in Sambisa Forest. He expressed the determination of the military to entrench peace in the northeast, attributing the successes recorded to the intelligence network, which enabled them to make the place too hot for the insurgents.
At this stage of our fight against terrorism, I urge you and members of the general public to continue to be more security conscious. Given the apparent end of Boko Haram terrorists, they are changing their modus operandi. As you go about your normal activities, be careful to know who is knocking at your door before opening. We shall continue to inform the general public of these developments. Your continued support will be highly appreciated as we work to win the peace.
The theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole also paraded 2 suspects who allegedly ran errands for the terrorist group and also treat them in the forest. The suspects are already undergoing interrogation. So far, he disclosed that 963 Boko Haram members were arrested, while 2 others surrendered to the troop. Commander of both the Navy and Air components of the operation enumerated their achievements and steps taken to wipe out the insurgents. And as the war against the insurgency records more successes in the northeast Nigeria, leading to an upsurge in the number of internally displaced persons, the Victims Support Fund is scaling up its operations in areas of health, education, and women empowerment. The executive director of the fund, Sunday Ocheche, said while interacting with the UNDP resident representative Edward Cullen in Abuja. Fatima Liu reports.
The meeting between the two agencies with similar mandates of providing succor to victims of insurgency and survivors dwelt extensively on nipping in the bud the root cause of insurgency and helping the victims to overcome trauma of war. With over 2 million people currently displaced in Nigeria, quick, efficient and effective resettlement of victims to resume agricultural activities and ensure food security remains a priority.
So one of my biggest efforts is going to focus on how really I can get the United Nations to come together, deliver as one, bring in the synergies and comparative advantages of the respective UN agencies at work to support the effort of the government of Nigeria.
So we'll be establishing an office in Maiduguri and another office in Yola, increasing the level of local partners, the NGOs that will be our eyes and ears on ground.
The UNDP representative also reacted to allegation of the misuse of funds meant for IDPs by international agencies.
The United Nations system is an accountable system. And I'm sure if I receive a request from the governor of Bono on what the international community is bringing in and what is being spent, we will be ready to give that information.
To achieve effective and efficient collaboration in the resettlement of the internally displaced persons, the meeting further advocates synergy between the UN, international communities, and the Nigerian governments. In Abuja, Fatima Liu, NTA News.
Thank you, Fatima. You're still watching the news on NTA International. We're reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. More news when we return. Thank you for staying with us. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Chief John Nwodo on his election as the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, the Pan-Igbo socio-cultural organization. President Buhari believes that Chief Nwodo is eminently qualified for the job, given his long years of distinguished service to the nation, which includes Minister of Civil Aviation in the Second Republic under President Shehu Shagari and Minister of Information and Culture during the administration of General Abdusalami Abubakar. The president appeals to Ndigbo as well as the wider community of Nigerians to support the new leadership to fulfill their mandate and implement the vision for Ohaneze Ndigbo. President Buhari looks forward to working with the new leadership and assures Ohaneze Ndigbo that his administration will continue to be a partner in progress in implementing suggestions, measures and programs to advance the unity, development and prosperity of Nigeria. Ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, have been urged to critically look into their mandate in line with UNESCO 5 areas of priority to come up with timelines and funding mechanisms for presentation to UNESCO. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Jamila Shuwara, stated this in a message to a workshop for UNESCO-line ministries and agencies and the follow-up of Nigeria-UNESCO joint communique in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja has details.
The workshop is born out of the visit in August last year by UNESCO Director General to Nigerian President, where the two parties agreed on 5 areas of competence articulated and expected for presentation to UNESCO. Deputy Director Planning, Ministry of Education, who represented the Permanent Secretary, said the forum is also in furtherance to the ministry's mandate as the President of National Commission for UNESCO and its commitment to successful implementation of the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations.
It is also a clarion call for us to examine the documents at our disposal critically and come up with a national action plan that meets our developmental needs.
Saidu Jallo is a senior program specialist education, UNESCO Regional Office Abuja, who represented the regional director.
Such plan will be broader than the first phase, and it will focus on areas and themes which are crucial for Nigeria today, such as Lake Chad, the reconstruction of education system in the Northeast, which had encountered a lot of difficulties, and the strengthening of the science, technology, and innovation system, among others.
Nigeria joined UNESCO as 58th member nation in 1960. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Slija, NTA News.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC's 3 refineries in Kaduna, Port Harcourt and Warri have resumed production of automotive gas oil, AGO, dual-purpose kerosene DPK, otherwise known as diesel and kerosene. A statement by Ndu Ubamadu, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division of NNPC, says this is expected to balance the disequilibrium in demand and supply of the products being experienced in the recent times in parts of the country. The statement says that the Managing Director, Warri Refinery, Solomon Ladegon, indicated that the plant now refines 2 million liters of kerosene and 3 million liters of diesel daily. The statement also quotes the Managing Director of the Port Harcourt Refining Company, Dr. Bafred Engu, saying that the refinery is producing 3 million liters of AGO daily in addition to DPK. Kaduna Refinery is also producing millions of liters of white products to ease out the situation in supply and distribution of petroleum products nationwide. Over now to Adebola Brookslyn Sunday for stories trending on the foreign scene.
Gambia's President Yahya Jammeh has appointed his new Secretary General and Minister for Presidential Affairs, Musa Jallo, as chief mediator between him and the coalition to peacefully resolve the political deadlock sparked by his refusal to relinquish power. Jallo's appointment came after the resignation of his predecessor, Sulaiman Samba. It is the first time Jammeh is opening communication with coalition members that won last month's election after he accused the Electoral Commission of rigging the polls. The Gambia's President-elect Adama Barrow has repeatedly requested for Mr. Jammeh to open lines of communication to ensure smooth transfer of power. Meanwhile, President Barack Obama has enjoined Americans to defend their democracy in his farewell speech in Chicago. President Barack Obama told thousands of supporters that, by almost every measure, America is a better and stronger place than it was 8 years ago when he took office. But warned, democracy is strengthened whenever it's taken for granted. The country's first black president, now 55, was elected in 2008 on the message of hope and change. And Taiwan's defense ministry said China's only aircraft carrier has led several warships across the Taiwan Straits. That the Lion was returning from Greece in the South China Sea. It did not enter Taiwanese waters, but did cross its air defense identification zone. The move is the latest escalation amid tensions between the two neighbors, and Taiwanese authorities have asked the public to remain calm. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
And on the sports scene, footballers urged to plan for life after retirement as reactions trail FIFA's decision on 48-team format for the 2026 World Cup. Details on Sports Update with Kene Emabodike.
Nigeria-based professional footballers have been urged to pursue academic qualifications in order to be relevant after retiring from the sport. This advice was given by sport administrators in Port Harcourt during the testimonial match of former Super Eagles forward Victor Ezeji, who retired after 20 years in the Nigeria Professional League.
He has shown players and footballers that you can mix the two together, get to school and play your football, and that you don't have to go abroad to become recognized or famous.
I want to go into administration, and that's one of it. And by the time we're done with this, we'll take it to the next level. Nobody says I cannot coach. Nobody says I cannot be a player's agent. But we'll see how it turns out at the end of the day.
Omobolanle Obayomi reports that Ezeji, who played 8 games for the Super Eagles and also won 2 African Champions League titles with Enyimba of Aba, has been appointed player advisor to the league management company. Ahead of the kickoff of the 2016-2017 Nigeria Professional Football League season this weekend, newly promoted